everyone, it's Rachel. In today's tutorial, I want to show you how to color a vintage pop art or comic style image using the Color Therapy app. This is a fun and easy way to posterize any portrait and give it a vintage spin. Use a limited color palette and bold lines. Find this image under Fashion Vintage Makeup. So we'll first start off by coloring in everything with the basic palette. So I'm using the fourth color on the bottom row of the basic palette and just tapping in the skin. For the hair, I'll use that bright yellow. I'm using the bright red for her dress and the roses, as well as her lips and her earring. And I'll use black for most of the background and her eyebrows. I'm gonna use this nice deep blue for her eyes. So now what we want to do to make it look like a vintage poster, we want to thicken all of the lines, and then we also want to add some highlights and shadows. So let's start off with our shadows. In the basic palette, I'm using the third color on the bottom row. Let's go over to the pen tool. I'm going to do size 15 and opacity at 60. Let's turn coloring inside the lines mode to on. Zooming in here, we're going to trace the edges of the face. Okay, so right up against the hair. Just trace that. You can make it kind of thicker by the jawbones. I'm also going to trace right above the eye and stuff too. And then we're going to add a little shadow just coming down from the eyebrow, just highlighting the nose. You could do around the bottom of the nose and below the nose too, and then below the lips. And just continue to shade all of the shadow areas. So underneath the neck, you can see where the shadow can be. So right next to the arm by the clothing and just around the whole arm there. I would just lower it down a little bit so that you can do the fingers as well. We'll do the same thing now, but let's switch over to white. So for the highlights on the fingers, let's do size 7. I'm just adding little highlights just along the fingers, really simply, and the back of the hand, and then along the arm. Now let's raise it back up to size 15. For the face, let's have a highlight coming up right above that eyebrow, kind of a triangle shape. Just highlighting the forehead really broadly, just right below the eyebrow there. And then a little circle for the cheekbone. Same with the other side. A little bit on the nose and chin. Then right by the clavicle and a big highlight on the shoulder on the right side. You can bring another one below that. For the lips, let's lower it down to like size 2. Just add a little circle there, a big circle next to a little circle, and then just kind of highlight the curve of the lips. You can add a little dot right there. Now let's set the opacity all the way to 100 and the size at 6, and then we'll do the highlights for the hair. So with the hair, we want to go with the movement of the hair. So curve your finger going with the shape. I'm just doing little short strokes kind of all together in a line, parallel. So you just want to apply this to all of the hair. I'm just kind of going with the template that's already there. It's kind of providing me where I want to put my highlights. So really your highlights in your hair are going to be kind of in the middle of each section of hair, just curving down. Some of the highlights can be longer and some can be shorter. All right, so now we're going to trace the facial features with black and thicken those lines. So choose black, and with the pen tool, let's set the size at 2, opacity 100. And let's do coloring inside the lines mode, set to off. So I'm going to start off by just totally coloring in her eyeshadow. It's just going to be one thick dark black line, and it's going to kind of swoop over her eyelid and then just come down like that. And I'm going to have it like come up and touch the eyebrow too, and I'm just going to fill that in, just making it really dramatic. Just add a little dot under her eye. And then you want to turn coloring inside the lines mode to on just to like trace the outside of the eye, just to make sure we have all the lines, and same with her eyeball. And then back to coloring inside the lines mode, set to off. Same thing on this side. I'm just gonna bring that eyeshadow right, just totally coloring it in, making it really dark and dramatic. I'm just gonna bring it down the bridge of the nose. Really make those lines thick where the jaw is and where the hair meets the face. So I'm having coloring inside the lines mode set to on for that. For the lips, I'm just tracing them, just basically tracing everything, keeping it simple. For the smaller details of the nose, let's just lower it down to size 1 and just add a little lines there. For the hair, we'll do size 5 for the main sections, and coloring inside the lines mode is still set to on. So what I'm going to do is just kind of trace the thick parts of the hair where it's separating it. And then in the middle of those chunks of hair, let's lower it down to size 1 or 2. It just depends. You just bring it all the way up I'm using size 2 right now. And I'm just dragging these lines all the way down and across. Again, raise the size up to 5 to separate those chunks of hair. One thing you can also do that looks nice, I think, is to taper off those lines. You don't have to do it for everything, but for example, you want to make the tops of the lines thicker where they meet those edges, and then you kind of just taper it down. So you want to just apply that to the rest of the hair. To finish it up, just remove the lines. You can also try adding the pop art effect on top of it to really make it pop like a poster, or what I did was to apply the canvas effect. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.